Meanwhile, O.J. Simpson has been in a Nevada prison since 2008 after being sentenced to 33 years for an incident at a Las Vegas hotel where Simpson attempted to forcefully reclaim memorabilia. But this summer, he may get out early. According to analysis from a University of New Hampshire legal expert, Simpson might be granted early release on parole. Simpson, of course, is universally known for being acquitted of another crime, the murders of his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend, Ronald Goldman, in the trial of the century in 1995. And look who's here, Will Kane. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
I feel like it's been a while.
Because it has. It has been.
It's good to have you back.
Yeah.
And happy to have you weighing in on this. I am going to start with you, Max. Do you think that O.J. should get parole?
Yes, I do. Because in this case, he has to be considered, his parole has to be considered exclusively on the circumstances on which he was convicted. This has nothing to do, or shouldn't have had anything to do, with any relationship O.J. has to the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Goldman. Like that, the two things cannot be connected. Now, if you've seen O.J. Simpson O.J. Made in America, which was amazing, and I highly suggest you watch, especially this installment, especially that episode, where it went over in great detail the circumstances surrounding this particular conviction, and left me as a viewer with the impression that O.J. was kind of set up and railroaded and given much more time. And in this case, every excuse was made to give him as much time as possible for the crime for which he was committed. Now, I know what people are thinking. He did it, and don't let him out. He's a menace to society. Okay, but we live in a nation where there's a rule of law, and he was not convicted for their murders. This is something else, and it must be judged exclusively on the evidence and the circumstances of this case. Should he be paroled? If his behavior is living up to it, etc., if he meets the criteria for someone who should be paroled, the answer is yes.
Hell no. I not only think he should be in jail, I think he should stay in jail. As far as I'm concerned, it wouldn't bother me if he rotted in there for the rest of his damn life. And yes, I am fully aware of the fact that he has been railroaded. No question about it. I mean, because stealing, trying to reclaim his own memorabilia, accusing him of terroristic threats or whatever it was. I think it was 12 counts and what have you. And ultimately, they reached the conclusion that he was sentenced to 33 years, eligible for parole after 9 years. Here's the reason why I think he should spend the rest of his life in prison. Because he's an idiot, that's why. Idiocy to this level, when I firmly believe that you are a double murderer. I firmly believe that you killed Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman. I firmly believe that you laughed in the face of the system, you mocked it, and instead of having the decency to walk away because the trial was turned into something else due to the greatness of Johnny Cochran and the ineptitude of Marcia Clark and Christopher Darden. The bottom line is you had an opportunity, an ideal opportunity to chill out, walk away, and go on with your life. And instead, what did you do? You laughed and mocked Ronald Goldman's family when they sued you civilly and won about $33.5 million, but your money was protected and they couldn't reclaim all of this stuff. And I want to make sure I emphasize this. Under no circumstances am I saying, and I know a whole bunch of people is going to disagree with me, and I get it, I understand it. Under no circumstances am I saying that I believe that O.J. did not get railroaded with this whole memorabilia stuff. I get all it. I totally understand it. But when you are an individual that was on trial for double murder, that I believe got off, by the way, and you still don't have the decency and the common sense not to stare the system in the face and give it the proverbial middle finger, you deserve what you get. And as far as I'm concerned, that's exactly what it is. And I hear in the prison that they watch, in the prison that he's in outside of Reno, Nevada, that they actually watch ESPN. I hope he's watching me right now. That man brought all of this on himself. He didn't know any better. He was an idiot for finding himself in another predicament, and he put it on himself, and he deserves what he's getting.
Idiocy. Idiocy gets you 33 years, huh?
Well, evidently. Evidently, he got sentenced. Did he not get sentenced to 33 years?
But in your argument, he deserves the 33 years for idiocy alone.
Yeah, pretty much. And
What
double
I
murder.
would suggest is you should be grateful that's not the standard
and-
of the system in this country. You might be doing a life sentence for some of the things you've said on this program.
Please.
Idiocy,
Yes,
33
please.
years.
Anytime, any day, you want to compare the idiotic stuff that comes out of folks' mouth. You name the time and place.
They're both getting
I'll show
triple
up.
life. Now, go ahead.
You got to be crazy. There you go. That's a good one. That's a good one.
OJ should get out because I believe in justice. I don't believe in karma, and I don't believe in sentencing people for things that they got off of, although they should have been convicted of. We all seem to agree, as any rational person does, that OJ killed Nicole Simpson and Ron Brown. Clearly, he is, outside of the United States justice system, in all of our minds, in any rational thinker's mind, a murderer. And by the way, beyond that, he's a sociopath. It's an absolute travesty of justice that he got off in that trial in the 1990s. And in fact, if somebody should go to jail, it's the jurors in that case who relied on the concept of karma over justice to let him off. They were getting the LAPD back for its history of bigotry. They were enacting karma to get back at racism to let a murderer off.
I'll respond to that, by the way.
What I'm suggesting,
I'll respond to that. I will respond to that.
but here's the thing, Stephen A. Two wrongs don't make a right. Don't use the same rationale that those jurors used to commit an injustice to do another. Karma is not the way you should live your life. Justice is the way you lead your life. And in this case, as Max said, and as you admitted as well, he was absolutely railroaded. Everybody else involved in this robbery served minimal time. No one gets 33 years for a robbery. He's already served 9 years. He has checked every box on the parole board, the parole commission's standards for someone whether or not they should get out. You simply cannot look back and say, you know what? He really did this other horrendous thing that he wasn't convicted of, and we all know it, and we can hold that against him. And here's the reason you can't do that. Trust me, I don't lose any sleep that OJ's sitting in jail. I don't feel sorry for OJ whatsoever. But here's why you can't adopt your idiocy standard. Here's why you can't adopt the karma standard. Because then it could apply to anyone at any time with no rules whatsoever. It could be held to you or me or Max, anyone.
May I get to
Max,
respond?
I'm sorry, but it wouldn't apply to you.
May I get to respond?
Of course you're going to get to respond.
Because you've conceded you believe him to be a double murderer.
Yes.
And a sociopath.
Yes.
A double murderer and a sociopath should not have any other form of justice, in my estimation. I respect the fact that you believe differently, but don't call it idiotic or anything of the like, because there are people who feel differently than you when it comes to that regard. You are absolutely valid when you point to the fact that, excuse me, under our justice system, blah, blah, blah. But under our justice system, look what happened. And oh, by the way, while you call out folks on the jury who let him off, in defense of
well, they should be.
In defense of that jury, my response to you would be something simple. Perhaps if you were a brother or sister that struggled the way that they struggled because of the LAPD at that particular time and times before that,
no.
maybe
no.
Wait a minute. You are not. You haven't suffered the way that they've suffered.
No.
You have not.
No.
Have you?
No, but that does not give you license to put murderers on the street.
Wait a minute.
Both
I agree
things
with that.
can be true.
Wait a minute.
You can have suffered at the hands of the LAPD and still put a double murder away.
But you're assuming they believed OJ did it and let him off. And I'm saying to you, there's a legitimate argument that those people didn't believe that about OJ because of the transgression of the police.
What you're arguing about.
No, I'm sorry, Max. You touted OJ Made in America, the ESPN documentary that's now up for the Academy Award. In that documentary, there are specific interviews with jurors.
Not all of them.
Not all of them, but some. And it only takes one to get a guy off, who are saying they didn't care about his innocence or guilt. They didn't care about the
argument. Wait, hold on. The argument you're having is about due process, and I am on your side about this, versus a larger ideal of justice, meaning that the right thing happens whether or not due process was applied. I agree with Will. We live in a nation of laws, and due process in this case trumps even the idea of some kind of larger version of morality. But let me say, if he is a sociopath, and that can be demonstrated, then no, he shouldn't get parole. And furthermore, whether or not he was railroaded in this case shouldn't even affect whether he gets parole. Because even if he wasn't railroaded, if he's up for parole and he deserves parole, he should still get it.
I stated my belief that he's a sociopath. I'm neither a psychiatrist nor someone who's testifying before this parole hearing. But that's the difference between us. I'm not standing by O.J. I'm standing by principles. I'm standing by the rule of law as Max laid out. In my gut, do I want O.J. in jail? Yes, but I'm not the little mini king or dictator of this country, nor do I want to be, nor do I want you to be, nor do I want your gut to guide us through every single thorny issue we have. I want rules, because whether or not I trust Stephen A., and by the way, maybe I would, I may not trust the next guy or the guy after that. That's why I put faith in rules. They're not infallible, Stephen A.
Right.
They get it wrong.
Right.
But I'm going to stand by those over your gut or anybody else's gut.
But my response to that is this. That justice that you're alluding to, I would find to be a more favorable point of view if it was discretionary, if it was something that was fair enough and applicable to all folks. That hasn't been the case when it comes to the African-American community. I am a black man. I'm here telling you that black individual known as O.J. Simpson deserved to be in jail because of his stupidity, deserved to be in jail because he wasn't stupid enough to lay low and be quiet after he killed 2 damn people. I don't give a damn what happens to him. That's me. But that same level of justice that you're saying that I'm absent of, to me, I look at it entirely differently, because I'm saying to you, there are white individuals who have committed egregious transgression and justice wasn't accorded to them, and I'd say the same thing about them if they were in O.J.'s situation. So if I'm going to say it about them, why not say it about O.J. Simpson? I am being even-handed. I am engaging in justice. It's just that my definition of justice is a little bit different than yours.
Yeah, because your definition of justice is solely withheld within the mind of Stephen A. Smith. And
that's not true.
Until you're king.
That's not true.
Until you're dictator,
it's in
it won't matter.
In the minds of history. Because historically, we've seen it exercised unfairly.
Stephen A., I am not denying what you're talking about. I don't deny that the rules of justice have been unfairly applied throughout our history. But the answer to that is not to throw away the rules. The answer to that is not to do away with our principles.
They are the rules.
The
He got sentenced to 33 years.
Not to embrace your gut.
As everybody that's sentenced that's eligible for parole, do they all get granted parole? No. He's got sentenced to 33 years. Parole is after 9 years, okay? When parole comes up, they don't have to let him out. It's within the rules for them to keep his behind in jail. What rule am I breaking?
The answer, Stephen A.
What rule am I breaking?
The answer to the unfair application of our rules throughout the past history of the United States is not to discard them. It's to hold truer to them. And in this case, sometimes it leads you to outcomes you don't like. But that's what you have to do here. Hold true to these rules.
The more primitive point of view in this case is the pre-industrial code of ethics, system of honor, that Stephen A., I think you are applying here. We are a post-industrial rule of law society, and that is a good thing. That is something we want to preserve. O.J. should get parole if he deserves it.
He should get it. He doesn't deserve it.
There you go.
He should get it. He doesn't deserve it.
I wish we had more time.